Hi, I'm Marian Giannopoulos, and I'd like to welcome you to Inside the Dragons. This is our monthly television show about Lake Orion Community Schools. Tonight we're here at the high school, and this is our first Lamp of Learning event for the fall. This is where our school board members have the opportunity to recognize those students who have highly achieved in the past in the district. And we're really so very proud of our students as they try to reach all of their goals. That success really leads directly to the district's new point of pride. This is the high school's Wall of Excellence, and you'll hear more about that tonight in our show. This is where you're going to have the opportunity to meet a few of our inaugural honorees and hear how the wall began. And finally, we're going to also learn about October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And you'll see a little bit about our pink football game. That's a Lake Orion tradition. Thank you so much for joining us, and I know you'll enjoy the show.
For more than a century, the Lake Orion Community Schools have produced impressive graduates. Alums who have gone on to make their mark in the world in many areas of society. Now, under the leadership of Lake Orion High School Associate Principal Kyle Medier and Principal Steve Hawley, they will be recognized. The district's first Wall of Excellence debuted in late September with 6 honorees. An astronaut, a musician, a judo champion, a Marine colonel, a teacher, a musician, and a Fortune 500 CEO. They brought success from all walks of life, showing the well-rounded district.
Dr. Ronald Tripp was the 1994 Sambo World Champion. He was a national judo champion.
The idea began last year, and a committee accepted names, narrowing it to the final group of influential grads.
Right, we tried to make the lettering up there, Wall of Excellence, match the size and sort of color of the lettering, texture on the lettering outside that says Lake Orion High School and Performing Arts Center and Field House. So it looks pretty much like that. The plaques, we tried to give them also the brushed aluminum look to sort of match the color of those. Obviously the plaques are green as well to match with the school colors. And then to go through our different inductees, Blanche Sims, class of 1895. She was an educator for 50 straight years in our school district. Ron Tripp, class of 1971. He was a world champion in a martial art called Sambo and a national champ in judo, also a member of the U.S. Olympic Committee and about a million other things. He's now a successful chiropractor in Oklahoma. Fritz Henderson, CEO of General Motors, one of the biggest companies in the world and certainly in Michigan, class of 1976. Daniel Choike, colonel, retired colonel from the U.S. Marine Corps, also has transitioned to the business world. Andrew Feustel is an astronaut who has been into space already twice. He's going up for the 3rd time this spring to the International Space Station, where he'll be the commander of the space station. And finally, John Upton, class of 2008. He is the principal oboe in the Florida Orchestra, which is kind of like being a quarterback on a NFL team, is the equivalent in music. I do want to mention that for each one of the people on the wall, we thought it was important to make connections with today's students. So each of the people who's still alive, we were able to ask them what their best memories or most involved thing were that they were involved with at Lake Orion High School. So each one of them talked a little bit about that, and we put that on the plaque.
On the day of the ceremony, 2 of the inductees, retired Marine Colonel Daniel Choike and judo champion Dr. Ronald Tripp, came home to Lake Orion to share their stories with students. They hoped their words would help inspire current students to see what they could become.
I'm Dan Choike. I'm a retired colonel in the United States Marine Corps. I graduated from Lake Orion High School in 1977, and it's been a great pleasure to be able to come back here to what I consider home and to have this honor of being on the Wall of Excellence being bestowed upon me. I know there's some outstanding individuals that are part of this particular induction, but it sure is a pleasure to be a part of this. At first thought, I was like, why are they picking me? And especially when you start to look at some of the other inductees and you see astronauts and Olympians and Blanche Sims, You know, it's easily to see that there's probably other individuals that are also, deserve recognition, if you will.
When I came through Lake Orion in the 60s and 70s, it was really a little bedroom community. We had 1,100 people in the school. Keatington was the new area of town, and Judah Lake was the other guys at Carpenter School. So, and there was distance. I mean, there was actually gaps in the city. There's gaps between here and Oxford when I was here. Now it's all built out. But I think that coming from a town like Lake Orion, which is just honest, hardworking people, I think impacted me and gave me a good work ethic and gave me the values that were important. Lake Orion always stays with me. I didn't tell the students, but I always, and this gets almost emotional, never forgot where I came from. Every world championship, when I got ready to go out there, Lake Orion was with me. Yeah, it's tough. Everybody in this town struggles. Like I said, we were all automotive people and people that had really, not always had fuel oil. Some people didn't have, in my class, kids didn't have clothes. People had to, we'd give kids clothes, give kids shoes. This was a tough place to grow up. But I tell you what, never, and any time I go anywhere or talk about anything, I'm from Lake Orion, Michigan. I'm from Cashmere Road, and I'm proud of it.
They also were honored at the football game that evening during a halftime ceremony. The Wall of Excellence was placed in the high school commons so all visitors can take in the history. There is significant room to share many more accomplished graduates and to remind students to strive for excellence daily. This will become a yearly event, so any nominations for the 2018 class will gladly be accepted. The Lamp of Learning program has much deeper roots than the Wall of Excellence, initiated in 1985. Recognizing high-achieving students, each fall, the program features school board members visiting the high school and the middle schools to honor students at multiple levels. The first program was held in late September at the high school.
In 1985, the Lake Orion Community Schools Board of Education established the Lamp of Learning Academic Awards Program in an effort to honor and reward those students that were stellar in the classroom and to give local businesses.
The senior level features 4 awards: an academic letter, a bronze, silver, and gold pin. The awards are based on reaching a 3.5 grade point average over an entire school year, and how many successive years they've continued to achieve that measure. With families in the audience, the night is appreciated by students and loved ones. With the students comfortable in their classes, teachers spent the first weeks of school expanding the opportunities. At Walden Middle School, the catapults in Mrs. Heisel's class forced students to get creative with their experiments.
Oh, excited, motivated, yeah. We have to establish the rules of the materials being tools, not toys, and they've responded really well. They're still a little getting used to the process of having to wait and watch and while other groups collect their data. But we jump right into the forces and interactions where they're collecting their own data on a daily basis, so this is just sort of a preview to that. They are allowed to do a little research. Okay. They can look at pictures online. They learn what a catapult is, what a projectile is, what kind of simple machine it is, and how it works. And that's it. They have to plan it, build it, test it, and then they can adjust it. I don't walk by and tell them like that's not going to work. Right. They have to work within the constraints, and then that's the part of the process. So
can you guys tell me a little bit about the catapult and let me show it to me, show me the parts.
So right here we have the spoon where we put the eraser in, and it launches back. And right here we have the support, so it comes back. And we did have a whole entire stick here where we also launched it off there, and that got us our high score.
At Scripps Middle School, Miss Bingazer's 8th grade students tested their rocket's proficiency. Some took off smooth, some went wayward, and some soared, all while students took notes and made modifications for the next run.
Was experimenting with rockets. There were rockets that didn't leave the launch pad. And even years later, when they were working on engineering rockets. There were some that contained astronauts that did not leave the launch pad.
Carpenter Elementary's programs go well beyond a single event. The school endorsed the Positivity Project for the entire school year, a program of 24 traits to help the students understand strong values. Week by week, they'll have a separate focus on one of the traits.
Superheroes today, okay? They are 24 of the biggest superheroes I know. I am.
But you notice and value the world's beauty and people's skills. You don't take things for granted.
So this is bravery, and that means you act with mental, moral, and physical strength, even when you know things are difficult.
Purpose means that you have beliefs about the meaning of life and your life's purpose.
Gratitude, you are aware of and thankful for good things.
And optimism, you expect the best from the future and you work to achieve it.
Words throughout the year. You will know what that means, and you will come to know what that means as you learn about them in your classroom, okay? The biggest part of this, other people matter.
All exciting programs around the Lake Orion School District. Lake Orion's volleyball team is flying high. The Dragons have spent much of its season ranked in the top 10 in the state and rolled through tournaments defeating some of the state's top teams. That has boosted their confidence this season, knowing they can handle any challenge that comes their way.
I think probably the team chemistry. Like, everyone just really likes each other and works hard. Yeah, I think genuinely all of us want to win and want to be there every day, and so when tournaments, when it gets long, we just push through at the end, and then we come out with a lot of wins.
I think we all just really like each other, and that really helps team chemistry.
Is there something different than other years? I mean, is there, you're executing differently? Have you guys worked differently to prepare?
I think we probably have a better work ethic this year. So everyone working hard.
Was that something that developed in the off season? Was there like a mantra or something like that? Or that kind of?
I mean, I think this year coming into it, last year we kind of struggled a little bit. So this year we had more of a drive to just play better and beat really good teams, and that's what really has happened this year. So yeah.
Is there one match that so far has kind of happened early and you thought to yourself, wow, this is a little bit of a different team?
Probably the Carson game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, was there a point in that match that really stood out?
I think just that we were
Illyria's day.
Yeah. Looking for Malinowski, and Malinowski trying to tip it, and
oh my goodness!
The win, and it was really exciting. Yeah.
As you guys hop into the state tournament and everything, and you kind of look at what's ahead of you, is that something that you kind of say, well, now we've got this confidence, we've got a different confidence because we've done this in the regular season?
I think with winning, we've also had a couple of really bad losses, and so we've learned not to take anyone for granted, and so no matter who we're gonna play, we're just gonna come out with our hearts and just treat everyone the same level, Yeah.
With a 35-7 record in mid-October, they found a way to thrive despite battling significant injuries all season. That gives the Dragons hope heading into the November 1st district opener against Clarkston, which ended Lake Orion's 2016 season with a 5-game classic match.
I think we are pretty deep as far as having a lot of players that can come in and do a pretty good job. We've had to deal with a lot of injuries this year and are currently as well, and we've still been able to perform pretty well for the most part, missing some very key players, so very deep.
What do you expect, going to the state tournament are going to be the keys for this team to make a deep run?
Health. I think when we're healthy, we can beat anybody in the state. We've already shown that. Actually, we beat some pretty good teams even not being healthy. So I think we have all our players and they're ready to go by then, which hopefully they will be. I think, sky's the limit.
They have the talent to beat anybody in the state of Michigan. Next month, they'll get a chance to prove it.
Thank you so much for joining us for the October episode of Inside the Dragons. Please follow the district daily on our website, Twitter, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you.
Inside the Dragons is produced monthly by the Lake Orion Community Schools in partnership with Orion Neighborhood Television. For up-to-date news and information about the Lake Orion School District, visit our website at lakeorion.k12.mi.us and watch us on Comcast Educational Access Channel 22 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99.